Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second workshop for Canton Construct Ideas and live here in Zoom link where everyone can join. This is open for your friends, teammates, co-participants to join in. Just share the link to your colleagues and you can all listen and learn here together. We may need to give some time to some of our participants to join the Zoom session. And so before we begin our workshop proper, I just wanted to give a quick overview of Canton Construct Ideathon. This program is consists of three phases that started in October. So phase one is the learn and earn phase we call Canton Core. The Ideathon phase we call Canton Construct, ending on December 5, okay? And the Canton Catalyst that will happen next year, January to February 2026, which is the refinement of the project with three grand winners at the end after a virtual showcase. So, what is your slot for that? To make that happen, please submit for this idea then. All right. So, we will be ending our submission deadline by December 5. Okay, let me just see. Wonderful. Okay. So as we wait for a couple of numbers of people to join our session today, let me introduce myself. I am Charlene of Angel Hack, the organizing team of Canton Core Academy, and we are now at phase two of the program, which we call Canton Construct Ideathon. So this Ideathon are hackathon running until December 5 with five main problem statements. And yeah, I'm aware that we are joined with developers globally. And so let me greet you with a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This workshop will dive into lending, borrowing, and yield applications in Web3. You'll learn how to decentralize platforms let users lend their crypto, borrow assets, and earn yield, all without traditional banks. We'll explore the key concept, mention some real examples of Web3 protocols, and discuss how these applications are shaping the future of finance. And of course, I'm also thrilled to introduce our speaker for today's workshop, Ilya, Tech Solution Director of Copper.co. It's a digital asset infrastructure company that provides institutional investors with secured custody, trading, and settlement solutions. Ilya, our mentor,
Hello.
has over 15 years of experience in IT, with the last 10 in product roles and the past 8 focused on blockchain. He began his blockchain journey by helping evolve a private institutional blockchain into its own mainnet, working on community onboarding, tokenomics, and validator integrations. For the last 4 years plus, he's been at Copper as a head of custody and blockchain, managing integrations and support for over 60 protocols. Imagine that, including Canton. He was involved in developing Canton's external key concept, shaping the token standard, and supporting validator deployments, app development, and technical integrations. Ilya, I've said so much about your amazing profile and background. This stage is yours now as you run us through the lending, borrowing, and yield application workshop. Take it away.
Thank you for this intro. Yeah, I will try to meet this highly raised bar of my professional skill set. Yeah, and hello to all from community. Uh, yeah, guys, we will speak today about lending, borrowing, and yield. I built my pitch and presentation to speak first about lending, borrowing by itself, what it is, how it works, what the most famous current approaches we have on general DeFi market, predominantly EVM like. Then speak the same, what is yield generation, what the yield generation vaults, why they are very popular now, and what is attractive. And then we will speak a bit about the DAML itself and how the DAML specific need to be counted and what the DAML approach to implement all things which we all speak in our first two parts of presentation. Yeah. Let's start from lending borrowing first, what it is about and what we're doing here. Yeah. If we speak about lending, and borrowing obviously altogether on the DeFi side, there is some specific compared to TradFi generally, because usually we have over-collateralized lending. It means if you bring $150, you can borrow only $100. You all time should provide as a collateral more assets that you able to borrow. Just as a basic. I explain later why it's so. And that's another type of borrowing exists on the market, but here on DeFi we do only this one. Yeah. Also important things, the rates They calculate on fly, they calculate algorithmically, not by humans, very dynamically, and usually each uh, supply, each amount of assets which provided to the lending pool or each loan, i.e. assets which been borrowed from a pool, they change rate, i.e. you quite rarely could find a service with truly fixed lending rates. Lending rates are dynamical. It means you took a loan and your loan rate during the life cycle of loan would be volatile. And this is part of economics, which we need to keep in mind. Yeah. Uh, what is the good things about it? This everything on DeFi as any other DeFi protocols and services. It's transparent, it's automated, and almost everything works without a human participation. And just a few words about DeFi. People thinking sometimes on I'm seeing this opinion, but want to share it with you, with as a builders who want to make the ecosystem, which is we are all doing the first steps, want to set the right understanding. I would say people think sometimes on DeFi like there is my business, which I do build my own protocol, my own smart contract, and earn money from business if I do business model correctly. But it's not exactly right. For DeFi, what the best way of thinking? Think about protocol as the right way of automate some business process, because if you have this machinery, this contract rightly done, this all coefficient are balanced, all mathematics are wrong, sorry, right, I apologize for this, right, you deploy it, you can run it, and anybody else could create UI to your protocol and run it too, i.e. you provide a mechanics, you provide an engine, people use it. That's the what that's the power of DeFi. uh, yeah, speed of this is also important bit, because as a worker is in custody and seeing the TradFi reality, you all know from your personal life how long it took to take a loan from a credit card or whatever. You need to pass a significant onboarding and very complicated procedure to get it done. DeFi give you access to this instant. We will speak flash loan slightly in future on this pitch deck, but this is super important things. Yeah. Uh, and from borrowing side, what you do have, i.e. lending, again, you have a pools, everything automated, rates are dynamical, you can easily get access to this. And from a borrowing, what is important to understand, again, you provide your collateral, and your collateral might be liquidated if something going wrong. And this something might be not dependent from you. That's also important to keep in mind, and not from you users. Say the market price are different. Yeah, you put one Bitcoin, you borrow 120 bucks against one Bitcoin, everything is good. Bitcoin go 80K, your collateral is not big enough to service 120 that you borrow. You will be liquidated. You will be liquidated even early to cover up the potential loss, because you have uh, borrow more than you provide as a collateral, and everything should be over collateralized, as I said earlier. That's the things to what you need to keep in mind about your collateral. And when you're building this solution, what you need to keep in mind is you need to find somebody for your protocol who would be liquidator. Because if, for example, you have successful protocol, say Aave, which has, I don't know, 40 billion right now TVL, and I don't know, 30 billion open interest, sorry, loans taken, that means somebody with the pocket big enough to accommodate 30 billion should be able to liquidate them in any given moment of time if market go wrong. Otherwise, it would be collapse. Yeah, that's what opponent thinks about uh, borrowing and what's going on with your collateral. That's kind of basic things how the whole things works here. Uh, yeah, let's go one layer layer deeper. What the key component of DeFi protocol? There is a three main system. Liquidity pools, it's a smart contract, it's a blockchain addresses where your funds are living. When you supply funds to DeFi protocol, to lending protocol, when you send them, your funds lands to this liquidity pool. It's usually one blockchain address per currency, per market, or per product. We will speak about this in more detail soon on the next slides, because we have a quite good examples from Aave, again, the leader in the industry, how it might be done. But the first things, it's a place where you store liquidity, where you calculate liquidity, where you're understanding how much you have, and from where you decide to use smart contracts, usually other smart contracts, the main contracts, uh, which describe the loan condition, who could take it out, because one user could put it into liquidity pool and another could take it out when he make a loan. Yeah, one supply, another take loan from the same pool. That's what's going on. The interest rate models, that's how you do calculate your prices, how you manage them to be economically efficient. Yeah, how you engage users, how you make your fees and you earn your profit from protocol, and how you uh, share some with your users, how you let them go. I will go to the economical model on the next slides. And last but not least here, this collateral management system. There is a set of contracts and usually also oracles and external trading or liquidation bots who look after loans which been already taken to keep them healthy, to guarantee that in any given moment of time your users, your clients, uh, have healthy collateral and they could service their loans, they could repay their loans, and you don't have anywhere the case when user borrow more money that he provide to repay his loan in case of event. Yeah, that's a three component. How you collect and give money to people, how you define your rates, and how you maintain healthiness of your protocol. That's the thing. Yeah, interest rate model. It's not very much complicated as it looks like, maybe. Let me just explain on the fingers what's going on here. If you watch the IMM video from other mentors, if not, I highly recommend you. On IMM, they have a bit more complicated model, where the price, defined dynamically, usually from like zero to infinity. Here on the uh, loans, on the this we have kings, I mean, two lines. So we define some ratio where we want things to work. And we, for pools, usually have a limit. We don't have infinitive amount of money which can come in, and we couldn't define the price on whole infinitive curve. Yeah. Uh, which can be quite steepy on the ends and have like almost zero or like extremely high pricing. Uh, as you can see, and what the most important things to understand from this graphic, the blue one, it's a borrow rate, and this exact straight line, just go like this, is how much people pay to take a loan. Yes, and as you can see here, the borrow rate defined from, sorry, move it, yeah, the borrow rate, it's variables, and it's defined from base rate, which is predefined for the pool. You set it up and say, I decide the base rate will be like this, plus utilization. This again variables. Yeah, utilization optimal. It's how you see when you want to see how much, what the ratio between funds which is supplied and taken. Yeah, and your limit of this. And this is a straight line. This is important to know. And the green line, it's supply rate. It's how much you users who supply funds taking from supplying funds to the protocol. And here's the magic. If you see one line is straight, another is a curve, and i.e. your users who supply doesn't get exact the same amount that's user who borrow, and the delta, this integral or area between the curve and between the straight, that's this area where u fees sits. Sorry, where's u fees sits. Yeah, that's the main things. And what the beauty of this formula, it's, you can Google them. It's public. Again, it's no rocket science here at all. All protocols, disclosure of them, it's standard, the same as for IMM, this y equal kx and so on. When you go to utilization rate, to the limit which you decide, yeah, to the optimal utilization, it means, for example, you have a pool which has a 10 million of assets in it. That's the maximum. Yeah. Some of them booked for reserve, for repayments, and now the pool have assets borrowed from it like in 9 million. Yeah, it's only 1 million free assets left. It's almost 100% of supplied being utilized, 90% to be precise. And you set up utilization like 80%. because you want to have a free room here for price volatility, obviously, to cover it up. And what you do when it happens, your algorithm has the defensive mechanics, i.e., when the protocol reach this limit, you're setting up this constant, uh, like optimization, optimal utility, sorry, utilization, to skyrocket the price instantly. Therefore, the borrowing price become high and people stop borrowing because it's not efficient. The utilization stop growing up because people stop borrowing. But at the same time, because the supply rate going as high as the utilization too, supply rate becomes very attractive. And if people provide funds to the pool, they could earn way more than usual because like not 3 by 15% or so on, and you attract supply to the pool. When you attract supply to the pool, utilization going down, you have a free space in the pool, price go normalized, and you moving back to this graphics. That's how it works briefly. You have two different rates. Again, borrow, which is a straight line, and supply, which is a curve. The difference between those two rates, it's the area where the protocol earning money. And your job just to find nice coefficient for particular asset pair, what collateral you allow people to provide, and what assets you allow them to borrow, and um, what utilization you want to have, and what pool limits and reserve you want to have to run it. But again, this all public, and you can take examples and look on other existing protocols on the market right now on DeFi to see how they are playing with the numbers. But that's the key difference here to understand how the price define, what the price definition difference, I would say, with the IMM protocols. As you can see, it's a bit different here, yeah. Closest to, I would say, how you define price for IMM on a TIX, if it makes sense for you. Hope. That's for interest rate. Hope it helps. It's not just please feel free to ask a question. I will try to answer them later after the video or in Discord, because this might be a bit complicated. Liquidity pools, that's what I promise you. And I haven't managed to create a too nice diagram, but we will explain on the one. Again, I will use here as example Aave V3 against V4. Uh, and it's showing clearly what the progress DeFi reached right now and how sophisticated smart contracts became and how convenient it's for users. Because what I did, and I really say that that's cool move from them, they remove all complexity from users. What it was before and how generally liquidity pool works. You have a there is liquidity pools. They call them hubs now, but that's the pools. Each blockchain address contain particular currency. People could deposit it, people could withdraw it. Then let's say this one, the spoke, I don't have my pointer visible. Uh, I hope my pointer visible. Uh, this one spoke, and now it's definitely visible. uh, you could call it market. And then user, provides, say, I want to provide to particular market, I want to borrow from particular market, and what been on Aave V4 or V3, sorry, and in generally in other protocols which I know as well, like Morpho or so on. I just name you biggest lending borrowing protocols on DeFi right now. You, if you want to provide liquidity, you provide it to particular market. Market, it's the group of condition which define what the borrowing cost, what the assets available, and all condition of how you borrowing and supplying assets. And this market has the subset of the liquidity pools. And this market has a subset of liquidity pools, sometimes with the same currency. And what it's causing very significant problem. It's causing the liquidity distribution. Your liquidity is splitted. If you may have potentially, USDT pool in one market and USDT pool in another market and have 100 million in each. Uh, but if you will manage somehow to get one unified pool, you will get 200 millions in them. I.e., you get more liquidity depth your pool more sustainable to market volatility, your pool could accommodate the biggest loans from institutional players potentially, i.e. being more attractive, and so on. Yeah. I.e. liquidity pools and how you manage them, how you manage your liquidity from operational perspective is super important things, yeah. Because again, as more pools you have, as more controls you need to implement, to look after them, to see uh, what's going on with the utilization, what's going on with supply, how much loan taken from each of these, and so on. And what the beautiful idea implement on the protocol of V4 right now. It's all public in their docs. Highly recommend you to read. This beautiful. They managed to get pools unified across the market. That's why they're called hub and spokes. Uh, They renamed market to spokes and made a few other more significant changes on the architecture. But the idea is right now that you have a uh, just 30 pools, one per supported currency, and this pool could provide liquidity to any of named spoken or markets easily. I.e., you have a consolidated liquidity. They managed to do this, and that's the main things I would say to from business perspective and from a technical perspective as well when you work on design to understand how you want to provide liquidity to your markets because and just let me give you a few example of markets to maybe just make it easier to understand. You may have a markets which works with assets on specific blockchain. You may have a markets which separate more risky assets, more volatile assets from less volatile assets. You may have a markets when people have whitelisting to access to or shell pass key USC to access to. Um, that's a different criteria why and how you could define your markets and why you will have a necessity to separate liquidity provision to them or not separate if you could manage it technically. Yeah, we discuss everything here. We speak about liquidity pools and how they aggregate assets. Yeah, each pool managed in all smart contracts. Yes. Lenders deposit assets into the pool, yes, and here the point. See, lenders could deposit it directly and just jump in slightly ahead. Yield wallets, right now, yield wallets doing the same because when you supply asset to the pool, you get this interest. Sorry, uh, try to get back on a slide. I hope you remember the previous slides when we had the blue curve and green curve. When you just provide access to the pool, you jump on a green curve and you go to your interest or what's doing this. That's the how people, make a yield farming on the protocols. And the borrowers here, as I say, they take loans from a pools, and here are also a bit of complicated things to understand, but it's important to understand. And how you can do this. Say, I want to do take Bitcoin and I provide Bitcoin as a collateral, let's be real, and I want to take USDT to make some trades, yeah. And what I do, I provide my Bitcoin to one pool. It's one smart contract, one blockchain address, maybe even on the one specific chain or Bitcoin itself, or I don't know, like Optimism, some BW, BTC, whatever. And then from other pools, on another given blockchain, on the same blockchain, I'm taking USDT. You need to have two smart contracts, two blockchain addresses, some hub or treasury manager smart contract which look on both of them to connect them and to connect my actions here and there. I also need to be able to interact with both of these assets. I support them on say P56 if we speak in a Canton, or provide them my allowance to ERC20 if it's speaking Ethereum, and so on. Yeah, that's the two-leg operation. Yeah. Also, what I could do, we'll also speak about this in future, but this is how the looping strategy works. I could provide USDT as a collateral and borrow USDT. Uh, It maybe sounds like a meaningless operation, but a meaningful operation, believe me, I will explain you when we come to the strategy to do not disclose all cards now. But it might exist, and you need to count this in your architecture pattern when user could provide to the pool and borrow from the pool itself. You need correctly adjusting the numbers when user has the collateral and the loan from the same pool. That's the mathematics which need to be taken into consideration. Yeah. And also, if you don't have this consolidated liquidity, which I described 5 minutes ago, and you have a multiple pools, you may have a case when user took free to multiple loans of USDT, say, from a different market or from a different pools. Does it make a commercial sense or not? Or he just makes it up. Or testing your system is not important, but he may have opened position, multiple position, which on a different rates, on a different conditions, and belong to different, pools and markets on your side, and you need to have a solution for this as well, or prevent it, or be able to correctly calculate, count this, and handle risk about it. Yeah, I probably need to speed up because it's just the third slide and we 30 minutes done. I'll try to go faster. Sorry, so many details. Yeah. Uh, Collateral management. What it is about. It's mainly I'm already talked about this. Let's be quick. It's how you uh guarantee that assets uh would be repaid. The loan would be repaid. That's the main purpose of this, to guarantee that your loan would be repaid. That's it. Yeah. I When user take some loan, he already supposed to provide some collateral. The collateral provision is the very first step. Supply is the first step. When you do interact with any DeFi protocols, borrow lending protocols, you first supply some assets. When you supply some assets, protocol calculate the value of assets that's been supplied and tell you, okay, you've supplied $500. Therefore, you could borrow with our, health score and things and rates this amount of other assets. That's what's going on. Yeah. That's what's mean. When you borrow, this LTV things appears. It's many things has this abbreviation, but here's loan to value. It's mean how much of your collateral already taken to cover your loan in case of, let's say you provided 500 and you took 0.1 Ethereum, which is what is priced for now, 250. Yeah. 300, i.e. 50% of your collateral taken out. Uh, and usually for collateral depends on asset. You need to define how say collateral efficiency. Say for stable coins, it's usually 0.8, 0.85. It means for $100, it's counted like $85. Yeah, because slight risk of unpack exists. If you use Ethereum or Bitcoin or something, it will be 0.7 or so. Because of, again, this asset are volatile, and originally protocol never count the 100% of value of it because assets are volatile and your collateral might be go down. It's better to prevent it on the original calculation. Yeah. If you have a risky assets, maybe 0.5, 3.6, uh, whatever. Yeah. And then what's going on? Here is precise explanation. What's going on? You borrow $100 and provide the Ethereum, which worth 150. Yeah. This guy provide to the pool $100 and just get his yield. Yeah. And if the price going down, assets will be liquidated. Let me explain you quickly liquidation because it's also important mathematics here and important mechanics here to keep in mind what mean liquidation and what technically goes on here. See, the protocol shall pay out to Bob this $100 plus Bob interest. Protocol also supposed to take his own fees, which take, I don't know, totally 110. Yeah. Plus protocol need to liquidate assets, i.e. sell it quickly. And when it happens, and usually happens when market going down, market go bearish. Therefore, the demand for assets would be low. And what protocol does to achieve it? Protocol provide discount. You can find the term which called liquidation discount and protocol documentation. What it means for the uh, borrower. You provide $150 of worth of Ethereum, but effectively somewhere when it like the price of them go to like $130, protocol open position for liquidation to try to sell them like by 125 or 120 to market to engage liquidators, buy it quickly and instantly, and take liquidity out for protocol to pay Bob, to take fees, to do everything. And liquidators, in order, uh, trying to buy assets with enough premium between the current market price and the discount to get the protocol provide to get their own benefit between these two prices. As you can see, it's too many people, very too much people staying on the liquidation side, and everybody want to get their own benefit on this, i.e. the liquidation price is the worst price which you can get. We'll get example how to avoid it on a few next slides, but just remember how it works, what's need to be accounted here, and those people are servicing your protocol. The protocol couldn't sustain without liquidators. That's you need to be very clear with them about it and with yourself. Yeah, that's a bit. Uh, yeah. Uh, Quickly here, what I say. Interest spreads. Um, that's the delta which I explained you on this graphic between the blue and the green. Also, protocol could and should, I would say, charge a fee for all operations, i.e. like all deposits, withdrawals, and things. And by the way, super important things also, like all things are important, but I forgot to tell it you for DeFi things. Uh, when you do DeFi protocol, any kind of DeFi protocol, what you need to remember DeFi system is not traditional system. What it means when you have a traditional system, just a software on your laptop, on your server, whatever, it could update its own state by itself, just regularly. Like you have a scheduler or like webhooks or whatever, and your state updated, your rates updated, everything updated, your system is up to date constantly. DeFi doesn't operate this way. DeFi sits on a blockchain. You have an infrastructure which is given to you as a blockchain, which is nice, but it's transactional. It updates its state only when transaction happens. When between one user make a loan and another user make a loan, system literally switched off. It does not track anything. It does not update the own status. It does not follow to oracles and things because it's no transaction happens. And what you need to do here, you need to periodically send transaction by itself from Oracle or something to just refresh the system status and give new information. And also, usually this is a practice from DeFi builders. When each user do operations, you include to his transaction because he called you through UI and tell me through UI go to smart contract and tell me, hey, give me the payload, what I need to sign to make my loan or provide my supply or to make my swap. Not important. And your protocol provide some in this payload some system information, some actions which need to be done to just refresh the status, refresh the everything to understand is all loans are still actual. Have any been significant changes in the price with the assets on the market, and does anybody require to liquidation or stuff like this? And those fees also need to be counted here. It's a part of tokenomics for you, how much you need to spend to keep protocol up to date and actual because it's DeFi and it's required transactions to be up to date and transactions required to be paid by fees. That's uh that thing. Yeah. Incentives, that's what does this strategy when you supply USDT and borrow USDT, which I did talk before, makes sense because sometimes you engage users commercially and incentivize them commercially to give them yield in additional assets, not like percentage on USDC, but some, governance token or some other token from your protocol or your partners. And you may rise up the supply fee higher than the borrow fee. And that's what's going on. The magic happens. I supply 1,000 USDT by 10%. Then I borrow them back by 8 and supply them again by 10 and borrow them by 8 and supply them by 10. And for these 2%, I literally loop it and increase amount of my loan significantly because stable coin is relatively riskless, not a financial advice in any kind of. I'm just explaining you how it works, on what incentive does and how this looping things works. Yeah. And risk is the same as the other DeFi smart contract problems. If price go down, your assets might be liquidated and you will never get your collateral back. You will stay with your loan. You don't lost the loan. What you borrow will stay with you, but your original collateral will gone and you couldn't get these assets back. And it's very sensitive to market volatility. Yeah, that's the things. Yeah, flash loan. I explain it super quickly. It's flash. Try to do my best here. But it's important things to mention. It's not about borrowing and lending, it's just side function of them, but people use it intensively because what it does, it's allow you in one blockchain transaction, which executed atomically, including multiple actions. Say, I want to borrow asset, then buy some asset. I want to borrow like on my example, yeah. I borrow Ethereum, then buy DAI on, I don't know, Uniswap, then sell DAI on SushiSwap against Ethereum, get my Ethereum back, repay loan, transactions done. This all happens atomically in one transactions. I took a loan and I repay the loan instantly. That's why you need the fee because loan have no time to live and you don't get any percentages from open interest here from open loan, but from fees you get your pricing, and it help you to make arbitrage and increase your arbitrage capacity significantly. It helps you to protect yourself from a liquidation because if you see you are close to the liquidation, but you don't have anything to repay your loan, you can do the flash loan to avoid it and take your original collateral back at least. Yeah. Or you can replace your collateral from one currency to another doing this operation because it does not affect anything. Yeah. Just nice, interesting blockchain things and DeFi things to keep in mind because it's related to borrowing, but it's not what we talk about. It's no protocols which provide only this service, as far as I know, at least the big protocols. Maybe there's some small, but all big protocols provide it as a side service. Let's put it this way. Yeah. Um, Yield application. Sorry. Uh, uh, what is this about? Yield application, it's the way how you can earning or performing yield from the yield as a service. What means yield as a service? I probably need to make a basic slide. I just understand it. Uh, it means your user doesn't want to bother to understand how DeFi works, which protocol best to invest, which pool he need to supply, how to hedge the problem of the price volatility if he um, supply to any pools and things like this. And you create a wallet. Right now, the de facto standard on the market is Ethereum 4626. It's not a complicated thing. It's super simple. It just take your assets. It's meant to support only one assets, not multiple currencies, just one currency per vault, and give user back some made up token which represent user assets and user yield. A user get assets which represent yield, you get his asset, let's say Ethereum, USDC, or whatever, and you could reinvest it. And usually behind this yield wallet, it's some smart contract which defines strategy how the investment happens. Like let's say Ethena, yeah, they go to do some basis trades with your assets, and they used to cover some in staking and so on, and give you some return. And multiple other vaults, sorry, here from Crazy, which provided 20% yield to invest on most, say, incentivized pool here and there to collect all the DeFi, crazy stuff, to Conservative, which provided like 5 7%, but they're very well hedged and do not include any like riskless operation. It's literally some things which allow you as a vault provider accept user's token, some currency, and then implement it to some trading strategy, trading operation, and user gets some tokens which representing his original assets, and he can recall them in any moment, and its blockchain will provide it to him. And they're also representing some yield which will be earned by your assets. Here you can see the parameters which uh, user could specific on his side when he's providing a transaction and assets what you're gonna do. The mint for your context, that's mint. It's mint for me these assets which representing my original assets and yield. He provide. I deposit Ethereum. I get some Ethereum substitute. Those assets is system assets. Um, they usually have no secondary market and so on. If protocol are big, again, as my beloved Aave, as you can guess, uh, they do have a secondary market for their A token. You've probably seen them before, but generally doesn't assume. And these parameters which are defined by protocol. Uh, Try to speed up even more. Yeah, this yield strategy I already explained you how it works. You have one asset, exchange it to another one, and if you here is looping against two currency. I explain you one currency. Uh, it's kind of arbitrage between two supply borrowing rates. If you see misbalance between two currencies, only even simpler in my example, only one, because it incentivizes the one of the strategies which wallet executes, it's a yield. And strategy is simple, super simple, but people don't want to even bother to manage it themselves. Yeah, to go to their MetaMask and do like 25 deposits and then 25, withdrawals to handle this. They just say, oh, this wallet give me like 7%, send money to this, 7% going back. How it's earned, people don't want to know. Yeah. I my main opinion about yield is simplification, and it's also quite often called curated vault right now because asset management is regulated activity, but curation is not regulated activity. It's the also as any other product which we could see on a DeFi, it came from TradFi. We all have this product from if you have any bank account, usually your bank providing you some account when you could deposit some money, and the bank asset manager will trade on a traditional stock market for you with some risk approach like high, low, medium, and give you some return, and usually return the better than standard bank deposits here. The yield strategy, that is the same on DeFi. It's more, uh, it's yield as a service, literally. I couldn't find another explanation here rather than that, more specifically. Yeah. Uh, yeah. How the yield done normally on DeFi? Again, as I said, you can supply your funds somewhere on different protocols, lending protocols or some other protocols, because sometimes even exchanges, if you have open interest on them or just provide them TVL, incentivize you to keep in money, specifically like, this DEX, big DEXs for derivatives or for perpetuals like YDX, Hyperliquid, and some others. They do this, and the wallet manager, the curator, watching who's provide right now most and keep them alive, or sometimes they might be even the partners because those guys provide them incentives and those guys provide them liquidity, like, and everybody happy. Quite often, specifically on the protocols, when you have a high reward staking, like Solana 7%, or I don't know, Cosmos 20, Polkadot, whatever. Polkadot and DeFi sounds funny, but on those protocols, you may have a staking leg in your mechanics. In the Canton, particularly doesn't work because it has no staking here at all, and it's not any economical incentive right now to provide your liquidity somewhere else. Yeah, but it's just important like for current general DeFi, and you need to know this how if I want to rebuild it on Canton, I wouldn't have this tool for me, which other guys usually use. Yeah, and you need to watch on something which has no this leg. But Ethereum good enough because Ethereum with the current fees is below the 3% significantly. People stop using staking on Ethereum and try to find another things. But usually it's about trading, data neutral strategy, which is well hedged, not risky, so on. Yeah. Uh, yeah. What the risk on yield generation, as I say, obviously smart contract risks, nobody remove it, sorry, but also this impermanent loss when you could supply assets and by one price and then price to change it, and even they're not liquidated, they're stop worth as much as they did, and you need to pull them back because users could provide you USDC, but you, for example, supply your strategy use Ethereum and you bought Ethereum and you haven't hedged yourself on a futures market against it, and you supply some more Ethereum, Ethereum going down, you couldn't take it back, you couldn't return users as much as he provided. That's that's the thing, yeah. Uh, and for successful strategies, it's literally tricky because it sounds at start easy, just get template, deploy, implement a few basic strategies and engage users to go in, and it would work, but it wouldn't be competitive because everybody who do proper risk management on this and get a multiple strategies and the strategy would be well diversified among multiple sources of liquidity, so on and so on, will provide the more robust model, which could sustain economic crisis, which could sustain a significant price volatility when the price going up and down like 40, 50%, which is usually ruin the whole mass. And again, what the key point 45, which not everybody understand, because everything is very much connected to each other through the bots, through the users, and through the APIs on our market, everything quite tightly linked. When the price start going up and down uh, rapidly, the all services go to, rebalance themselves organically. And if you don't have embedded mechanics, which automatically could handle the risk, if your algorithms and your um, logic and your liquidators, that's the most important things, couldn't have enough liquidity and enough speed, and couldn't be tested on like testnet with the test tokens on the extremum amounts, when it's quite low, quite high, and all of these things, you could be quite easily, lost connection with the market, or you will be unpegged, and that's it. Nothing bad, nothing good happens yet. Just uh, keep this in mind. Yeah, yeah. Why it's going skyrocketed this year and get a lot of popularity, and almost everybody who I know just working on this or already released the product. It's simple. It's simple for end user. End user doesn't need to understand what he's doing. He don't need to trade or buy anything or sell anything or whatever. He just press a button, say get me money, and the money is arrived. And the yield usually higher than everywhere and anywhere else, above 7%. Again, it's more than T-bills, it's more the riskless interest, and nobody offering this. And it's easy. You press one button and get yield. You press another one, you get your assets back. But usually it take a time from few hours to few days, depends on protocol. Your assets never come back instantly. Yeah, I simplicity to get access to yield, and it does not require from you anything rather than your MetaMask or whatever. And people explain what they're doing on the websites. You read it and you believe you understand it, and you never test yourself how you understand because they do it the job for you. Yeah, that's the thing. And you can see how your words going on. It's very attractive as a bit of a gamification concept when you see like daily basis your reward, coming to you and stuff like this. For staking sometimes it also works, but not for all staking provide you like daily basis rewards and nicely on you are reflecting them. Yeah, that's a bit easy and transparent. That's why everybody is obsessed by the yield wallets right now. Yeah. Uh, that's the overlap for everything which we discuss right now before we go into Canton. Uh, for all DeFi things and what we built again. There's no central authority anywhere, i.e., is no legal entity to deal with, which is regulator concerned, and on Canton, this problem is kind of disappearing. Yeah. Uh, Anonymity and privacy, it's not a privacy itself on real DeFi, it's just anonymity, but on Canton we could have a privacy, but we could have a privacy which satisfy a regulator because the privacy could be disclosure to regulator, I would say. Smart contract risks, it is what it is. But as I will tell you later, if I Canton Foundation made a great job, and quite a few very nice security firms who do audit on other smart contracts and even more complicated cryptographical algorithms and blockchains. They are supporting DAMO right now, and you can find a trustful auditor to verify your contract. Yeah. Regulatory fragmentation, that means like in each country, in each area right now, it's their own rules, but they have more or less the same concern this again Canton ecosystem could respond to, and I believe it will. Token classification is another thing which whole meeting required. But shortly for you guys who not specifically on the institutional and regulated sides, it's a big challenge, which token are securities and which token are not. And specifically when we go to real world assets or some tokenized things, this question becoming more and more critical to understand which assets you operate in. Uh, and are you eligible to operate these assets or not? And it's even more sensitive when we speak about like these yield-bearing assets or assets which generate yield by itself, because it's literally a definition of securities by a lot of regulations. That's what it's about, yeah. And because it's non-regulated and no legal entity, it's like no real customer protection so far here. Again, if you introduce legal entity to face clients, I believe it helps, yeah. It's democratized a lot. It's literally the state of our technology right now compared to traditional banking, and it's really faster. But it's not replacement. I'm 10 years in industry and I'm 10 years watching how the blockchain killed TradFi. It does not. It's it's alternative. It's the way how it's might be. It's a bit of sandbox for people to look in this and copying the best solutions and move it up higher. And I'm strongly believer in a Canton ecosystem. That's why I do this, volunteering activity, because in my experience, after 60 protocols which I support and develop with guys and watch, I don't know how many hundreds, this is the most mature solution which literally respond to the problem which we have in industry about institutional blockchains. Yeah, a few good words. And let's go further, specifically on a Canton. Yeah, let's go. Uh, why DAML? First, there's a few links here. I don't know, have the pitch deck will be available, by Google him. Don't, I'm sorry, these links, and I hope you can Google it itself. The long story short, I picked there are four important links to understand. Um, but again, Canton team made a great job for you and prepare a lot of templates which you could literally take and reuse. You don't need to write all of the fundamental things from scratch, which is took a while. Yeah, like the whole collateral management component, which is quite complicated piece. Believe me, uh, it's done and you can take it. It exists on GitHub. How you can manage your assets and liquidate them in case, and what dependencies this is exists. You can already do it on DAML. Everything about the privacy also included, and why everybody obsessed with privacy here. Again, when we speak about retail people, it's usually just nice to have or like funny feature, but nobody really cares. Well, when you speak about the big traders, about the whales, again, it's multiple tracker exist when you can follow to big names to see what their strategies and repeat their market activities and so on. Yes, you can guess those whales, those market leaders, not super happy about the whole market, watching like this, what they're doing and copying their strategies, copying their activities, which has never been the case before because you couldn't see what people doing on the traditional crypto market, and here we could let people being part of decentralized reality supply liquidity to decentralized reality, get a blockchain trustless environment, simultaneously being regulated and transparent for all regulatory bodies, but as well do not disclosure to whole internet what they're doing with their financial strategy, because those strategy it's hard work of multiple people to find where on the market you have a suboptimal, topic to make it optimal and earn your own interest. That's why privacy is important, because here you could do as whatever you want in not such much, absurd manner. Yeah. There's multiple other patterns which not exactly suits to the purpose of this pitch deck, specifically like borrowing and lending, but I recommend you to look on the locking side. for example, on a delegation is not exactly what we spoke about, is not, I've read it through, it's not fits 100% to what we spoke about, but at least it's show you how you may lock some assets, say collateral, if some loan happens, like what the mechanics natively build it here, or like delegation when I let somebody else execute on my side, on my name something, on my behalf. For example, say I'm a borrower, I'm borrowing assets, and I delegate my collateral to potentials to smart contract, which could liquidate it. Yeah, that's my way of thinking. Being when I pick this link, I a lot of stuff is ready, and very big things which people mention often. It's deterministic execution, which on it's a white paper, is not new. It's from 23, but it's section 5. It's clearly described and compare with other. It shows the journey from UTXO on a Bitcoin basic one, what to EUTXO on Cardano when it's extended, and not only token information added to UTXO, but also like contract information, i.e. you have when you move token, you have embedded to this information about what operations happens on them. Yeah. Uh, and some other things, and how they improve this it even further, make it structured and transparent on the Canton level, and how it build up organic and basic embedded deterministic execution. You could be sure that all time you get the same result, and also it's have a very good protection from race condition, and like because everything happens on your validator first solidly, and then result distributed. Is not all system need to be uh, aligned simultaneously as on other decentralized system. Highly recommend you to understand it, but or you can just trust to the protocol. That's all good, works, and don't bother with reading white papers. But it really how to say simplify your life, because you on a protocol level protected from a fundamental problem which you need to specifically address and make some system which preventing them on the other protocols such as Ethereum. Yeah, uh, it's a bit of compliance. Do we have anything important here? Yeah, if you don't mind, I will skip compliance. It's just a good things, but it's required to deep thinking. And for the last few minutes, I will tell you partitioned network model. That's the also very big challenge, difference. Sorry, 1 hour of speaking is hard. From Canton, and please keep it in mind. Your state is local. Your state living on your validator and in your validator only, and you need to define how much you disclosure to other validators. Who is your part of synchronization? That's the last point. With whom you're interacting, and how you get other people to have access to your state if you wish them to get the access. Is not given, because if I deploy my contract on Ethereum, anybody from a planet next second could call my blockchain address and see the balance, could go to Etherscan and see smart contract, could go to Etherscan and see all transaction. It's not the case for Canton if you specifically haven't do this, because the Canton coin by itself is globally synchronized, and you could observe all transactions from any point of view. Yeah, but it's deliberately globally synchronized, it's deployed this way. You could deploy it this way, but you need to do it deliberately. It's not given. Just keep it in mind. Yeah, that's the fundamental things. Confidentiality with chat. Um, the multiplates, I'll provide a few examples before. Yeah, contract lifecycle management is also a cool feature to keep in mind, because what the DAML offering you, again, on Ethereum, you deploy how it works usually. Try to fit myself in a few minutes, Charlene, please. On Ethereum, you deploy a proxy contract, which have a static address, user remembering this, and what address bucket, and whitelisted. And after the proxy, you have your bunch of other contracts which you could update when you release new version, but you do it manually. On Canton, you may define as contract any smallest operation like loan or transaction. Each loan is its own contract, which has own condition and has a life cycle to be utilized. I take a loan, smart contract issued, condition written in the loan, and managed on this atomic level of my loan as all condition itself, not somewhere in the pool. And when loan repaid, the contract utilized. You have a more granular contract, and you have a factory of contracts, may have factory of contracts, which issued to control the smallest operation. And inside of those contracts, again, you have a basic framework to decide role-based access control by native function of language. You don't need to write a role-based access control model as a separate component or bring separate library to decide who could do what. You have this embedded in the language, which is super handy for operational perspective. Yeah, that's generally, I would say, all important things. We're already slightly over time. I hope it was helpful somehow. Yeah, have fun, guys. With the building, Charlene, yeah, I'm probably done. Sorry, it's too many of those things. I thought I would be shorter.
No, that's fine, Ilya. And I believe that our participants are very happy to hear from you as well. They have mentioned a couple of times that it is very clearly presented and you have explained it in a way that it sounds easy. And I guess that's amazing. So, yes, this is such an insightful session. And I hope that everyone enjoyed it and learned from it. Okay, so what we have learned in some bullet points, I might not be able to put it in a bullet points as everything because Ilya tried to condense it a very huge number of bullet points into one webinar, which is amazing, right? So DeFi interest rate model where formulas have been well presented, liquidity pools, collateral management, flash loans, yield generation, DeFi regulations, and more. So if you have any questions, I would really love to have it here in the chat, though I'm aware that we're a bit tight with time. So if you're still digesting what you've learned and questions comes later, then please head to our Discord under the Mentor Assistance channel. And the good thing about this is that this session, as any other sessions we had in this ideathon, will be recorded and is recorded and will be available on Discord under the Hackathon resources and will be added on the Canton Construct Ideathon page. Let me just paste it here. Okay, here you go. You can just refer to the links that I've mentioned. The links are for Discord, and the other link is for our hackathon listing. All right. So before I'll let you go, don't forget the submission deadline is Friday, December 5, 11:59 Eastern Time. Why submit? The top 10 submissions from the Canton Construct Ideathon will receive 2,000 USD per team and will also advance to the Canton Catalyst, which is really, really the most exciting part, where people or like participants will compete for 10,000. It's an additional 10,000 prize pool for us to choose the three grand winners. And of course, as you move with Canton Catalyst, you will be moving into project refinement by having an exclusive mentorship to prepare your pitch for final showcase day. Perhaps that will be in March. Okay, so the final showcase will be reviewed by partners across the Canton ecosystem, giving you and your project incredible exposure. Sounds very interesting, right? So, how would you like to secure a spot? Do your best in your ideas and project. Make sure that all submission artifacts are followed and compare it against the judging criteria. So, please visit our hackathon listing page. You'll be able to find all of this there. And before I end the session, I would want to thank Ilya for sharing his expertise with us with a very well presented workshop that has tackled the lending, borrowing, and yield applications in the clearest way possible, easy to understand. So thank you, Ilya. Catch him again as a Canton Catalyst mentor. That will be in January to February. And everyone, I wish you all the best. And I hope to see you once again in Canton Catalyst. Bye. And we're all rooting for you. Fighting.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.